And this one, I might cry too, just to be honest. This is the reference of As the Days of Noah. I have been watching this kid since he was 19 years old. I've met him. He helped me get one of my jobs that I did for a while. I did political journalism, as a freelance, and I would get hired to write certain articles or send in articles, and sometimes they would buy them off me. And he helped me get this job. I didn't know him well or anything like that. I think I knew his wife a little better than I knew him, but they executed him, or I don't know if execute's the right word, but assassinated him. His name is Charlie Kirk. I was devastated. Like I said, I've been following this kid since he was 19. I mean, he didn't even have TP USA, or if he did, it wasn't huge by that point. But he was doing videos, and I'm one of those people who's constantly into politics. I'm very political. Have been for a long time, and so I tend to find up-and-coming conservatives because I've been looking for them, or at least when I was younger. I don't know if I do it as much now. I'm 40 now, I'm old. I don't care. I mean, I care, but I'm not going to do the research like I did when I was younger, because when I was younger, I felt alone, I felt like the world was against me for my beliefs, and clearly we were right. And the reason why I say that the days of Noah isn't just the fact that he was killed, it was the aftermath, the reaction of him being killed. The innumerable people who came and said something like, he deserved it, or we should kill his wife and children. Mind you, his youngest is under the age of 4. Or, I'm sorry, his oldest is under the age of 4. Both of them are under the age of 4. That's beyond evil. And I knew that we were fighting a battle of principalities. I knew that the other side had some evil people. But I didn't realize just how bad. I thought it was sort of the squeaky wheel of the left was who I thought was evil. But we're talking hundreds of thousands of people, loving the comments about how they should be slaughtered, we should kill more people, etc. Hundreds of thousands, millions even, on some comments. And that's not, the squeaky majority or minority. That's a lot. You got to bear in mind, nearly half of America doesn't vote. So if you exclude half of America, and then you take away another 80 million people, give or take, that are conservative or at least not full Democrat, you get what's remaining. So that's, you're talking low estimate 65 million people. That's more than 1% of their entire party. That's nearly 2% of their entire party is showing their full face and name while supporting the death of someone, celebrating the death of someone. We're not talking about some people saying, man, I'm sorry he died, but I never liked him. That, while I disagree, that's not evil. That's just how it is. People don't always have to agree. There were plenty of people on the left who said, I don't like Charlie Kirk, but man, it's horrific that he died. There were those people, but they were not the majority of the left who spoke out. Most of the people on the left who spoke out were horrible. And even those in Congress who placated us by saying, oh, it shouldn't happen, political violence should never happen, and then immediately literally went into the thing and raised a ruckus because they were going to have a moment of silence for someone who affected not just Democrats, or I'm sorry, not just Republicans. A lot of Democrats like Charlie Kirk, even if they didn't agree with him. Heck, a lot of far leftists like Charlie Kirk, even if they didn't agree with him. Or at least were supportive. I mean, I don't know. I think it's evil and it's wicked, and people were stunned by how bad it was. I wasn't as stunned as I think a lot of people were, but I was stunned. I knew there were those people because I'd seen some of the hate and evil things that were said because I'm chronically online. I saw how horrible they were about Trump getting shot, and I saw how horrible they were saying that someone needs to kill Candace Owens and all these other people. So I saw the escalation. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know who they were going to kill. And I most certainly didn't think it would just be some pundit. I thought for sure it'd be, a leader, not some conservative talking point head. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I love Charlie Kirk, but he all he did was go to college campuses and have conversations. Like, this isn't some radical right-wing psycho. If it is, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I don't think killing anyone is okay. But if Nick Fuentes had been killed, I would be devastated because that's horrible. Poor dude. But I can kind of understand why people hate him so vehemently. I'm not justifying that. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying the hate for Charlie Kirk is confusing for me. He didn't say anything outright racist, and if he did, it's because you didn't hear the full context, or you didn't hear the whole thing he said. You just heard a blip of part of it. It's like the good people on both sides lie, right? Everybody heard that one. Except he said more things. He said literally immediately after and before, but who's counting? Not the white nationalists and the KKK, they should be condemned totally. So, that got twisted and turned into a lie. And turns out the guy who did a lot of the stuff was actually on the left, come to find out. Shocking. They tried to spin it, and then by the time the truth got released, nobody cared because everybody was like, it's the right, but it wasn't. No. It was a leftist KKK member. Go figure. They're the ones that started the KKK. Why they ever... Yes, there were white nationalists who supported Trump because they thought he was racist. They stopped supporting Trump because they found out he wasn't racist. So they literally stopped supporting him, and they said so. People don't pay attention. Anyway, like I said, I'm chronically online. I see this stuff. So there was that. Let's see. Not to mention the... all nations will have the word. We all have the word. The cell phones are a thing. Internet is a thing. Almost everybody has one. And with evangelism and people going around teaching about the Lord, everybody knows the word by this point. And if they don't, it's either because they're in isolated areas or whatever, but they could choose to look. I'm not judging. I'm not at all. It's the same thing with people who are Mormon. I think once you're in your bubble, it's very, very hard to get out of it. And sometimes it literally takes God to wake you up. I'm one of those people. God's kicked my butt more than once. And I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian my whole life. So I am not judging anybody for that. Especially if that's all you've known your whole life. I mean, I feel bad for Muslims who literally know they could get killed for admitting that they want to leave. So they just lie about their faith, which is heartbreaking. I can't even imagine. knowledge is increased. Again, we all have our cell phones and Google, and we go to and fro, cars and planes. These are all things that had to have happened for us to go. And yes, some of this stuff was around for a while, but not to this caliber. Social media makes everything easy to find in an instant. Dumb people like me can make dumb videos on the internet. Get famous? Probably not, but that's not the point. Point is that anybody can say anything on the internet that they want. They can spread whatever information they want. So getting information at the tip of your fingers has never been easier. So there's that. I think that's it for the days of Noah. I mean, you can see it all around you. You can feel it. The Spirit is pouring out too. I mean, if you guys looked at the reaction to Charlie Kirk's death around the world, there was absolutely people praying, people coming to Christ for the first time all around the world. We're not just talking Americans. We're talking, people in England, people in Poland, people in Germany, people in Spain and Italy, people who are not Christian or had left Christianity and said, F you, God, are now coming back to the faith, which the Bible says that he will pour his Spirit out right before the end of days so that we will know. And if any time I've ever seen people have the Spirit of the Lord poured out, we didn't even see this after 9/11. We saw people coming together and sometimes praying, but we didn't see the whole world becoming Christian or a lot of people becoming Christian suddenly. We didn't see people leaving their religions to switch teams. I think a combo of killing Charlie Kirk, who was a representative for the Lord, in my opinion, and the outpouring of the Spirit, because we're right towards the end of days, that combo was a wicked combo and really was a 1-2 punch to get everybody to wake up. So there's that. That's more of an opinion one a little bit. I don't think it's much of an opinion, though. I think everybody who's paying attention can see it. People are sometimes living in La La Land and try to protect themselves from what's really going on, and I get that. It's hard to see. I get it, but I think the whole point of the wise and foolish virgin is that, sorry, there's hair. Wise and foolish virgins are that some of us are going because we're paying attention, and not paying attention because we want to be in the world. We're paying attention because we don't want to be. Not that I hate this world. There are things I'll miss. I'm a big epic reader, and I actually was praying about whether or not there are books in heaven, and if there are, is it all just innocent books, or are we talking some fun books? Sorry, that's terrible. But I was like, do we get to read in heaven? Is that a thing? Do we even want to? Or are we like, nah, I'd rather be with the Lord all day? I don't know. I don't know how it works. I have a lot of questions for God when I die, and I also have the question of whether or not we die, and is it like the Spirit, we suddenly know all that he knows, or that all of us should know, or is it going to be like I actually have to go up and ask the questions that I have? Because I got a lot, man. If God lets me sit there and ask him questions, we're going to be there all day, because there's so many. Just even random ones like what's up with Mandela effect? What is that? Is that just our brains all collectively having the same delusion, or just a government psyop? Did we have another dimension we fell into? What happened here? I'm gonna ask that because some of that stuff's a little weird. Anyway, yeah. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.